Okay. So thanks for dropping in. So satsang itself is a blessing. Satsang is a blessing energy. So you come to satsang and have a certain experience. You get to more readily, more easily sense the energy of the divine. And then you leave, and in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day, it dissipates, and you think, okay, when I go back next time to a meeting like that, that's when I'll feel it again. And when God gives the guru some ability to control that energy, when the transmission isn't only automatic, built in, but when there's more capability to move the energy, direct the energy, use the energy in specific ways, that's also a blessing energy. So when we do a silent meditation at the beginning, you fall into inner space, you quiet down, you close your eyes, you enter your interiority. And when you do that, you are less defended, less armored, less resisting. You kind of go into inner space and you relax a little bit, and the resistance is not so active, because the resistance is a form of exteriorization, which is your primary focus. You're conditioned into in daily life. You're conditioned into focusing in front of you, focusing outside, not inside. So when you're a little more silent, a little more meditative, a little less preoccupied with your thoughts, taking them seriously, then your resistance is not so right out front. And the energy transmission, the blessing energy, can be poured into you, given to you, transmitted to you more unencumbered, without the resistance acting as a barrier to keep it out. So that spiritual, so-called spiritual situation like all actual spiritual anything, has physical concomitants, so that transmitted blessing is able to penetrate on a cellular level. And the most sensitive people, the people who are really tuned in, really attuned to satsang, attuned to the guru, can feel that sometimes, that something is happening not just on one level or another, but also literally, physically, cellularly. And it always has to be cellular. People think of spiritual as out here somewhere, kind of ethereal. But you're a spiritual being, and you're full of cells. And if you're a spiritual being, then Your cells are spiritual cells. You think of it as your spiritual or your spirit, but your cells are physical. Well, what sense does that make? If you're a spiritual entity, if you're spirit, if consciousness is spirit, then the body is spirit too. If you're a being of spirit, then the cells of your body have to be cells of spirit, just logically. So you're taught, you're conditioned from early on that that's all called physical. And we're not denying the physical, we're just explaining, we're just broadening the understanding that physical includes spiritual. The accurate way to put it is spiritual includes physical. Because you're not two sides of a coin. There's not the body and the mind. There's not the spirit and the body. It's not two sides of a coin, it's one. So you can't make this artificial separation that the culture makes, that the mind makes, that, well, there's body and there's spirit, there's the material and there's the immaterial. The immaterial is the immaterial aspect of the material is the material aspect of the immaterial. It's one. It's not two, it's one. You're not a physical being and a spiritual being. You're one. So we have to trick you into quieting down, into being a little more open, a little more vulnerable, so that blessing transmission can reach you and your cells accept it rather than reject it, because you can reject it. And when you're exteriorized, when you're focusing only outward, which is what you're taught from day one, you always look that way, you never look this way. You never turn your eyes backwards, which is the spiritual process, looking in instead of just looking out. When you're exteriorized, you're in a way putting up a shield. Because you're expecting something from the outside to reach you, and then you have to respond, and that is a very familiar process to you. It's habitual, it's day in, day out, every second. So you have a whole set of unconscious expectations of what happens and how all that works, based on every second of life. And that focus becomes permanent. Which means, of course, that there's kind of a keeping things out that becomes a habit, not being porous, not being vulnerable, not being naturally receptive. You're born naturally receptive. You're born open to everything. A baby isn't trying to screen, a baby isn't censoring, a baby isn't saying, bring me this, but don't give me that. But you learn that along the way. And then that becomes the habit. The habit becomes selectivity. I'm going to focus on this, I'm going to ignore that. I want more of this, I don't want any more of that. And that becomes your resistance. It's resistance to life. You don't notice it because it's so habitual, it's so natural, it's so culturally taught and reinforced, everybody's doing it, so of course nothing seems odd or wrong or like it's not the best way. It seems like the only way. But it's not the only way. You can open more, you can allow yourself to receive without selectivity, without monitoring. So you come to satsang, and that blessing energy helps you relax, helps you open a little bit. And then you sit silently, meditatively, and that helps you open a little more and be a little less defended, a little less guarded, And then the transmission, the energy of the divine can reach you more readily, and you feel a little more blissed out, a little more something is going on. This isn't like all the other times during the week. But that's only because all the other times during the week you're exteriorized. You are keeping it out. It isn't that it isn't there, it's just when you come to a meeting like this, you're dropping your defenses a little bit. But you can drop your defenses wherever you are. You can make any situation the satsang. Because satsang isn't unique, it's the nature of things. And the Guru's presence assists with that receptivity, because the Guru isn't resisting. The Guru has somehow surrendered to their master, and the result is that the satsang is not sectioned off for them anymore. So when you come to satsang, your experience is you step into satsang. But because the Guru is not stepping in, stepping out the same way, because satsang has been accepted as natural and is experienced as normal, that becomes kind of an amplification for you. It makes the energy more available in general to those who are present. Operates like an amplifier. So when you're stepping into satsang, the Guru is actually doing the opposite, stepping not literally out, but kind of stepping out of satsang, stepping a step or two away so that the process of focusing the blessing energy can be accomplished. Because it takes focusing, it takes a purposeful doing. It's simply moving the energy, giving it a focused effect for the individual. It isn't generalized, it's for the individual. So if 20 people are there, if 50 people are there, if 500 people are there, it's for each one what it needs to be for each one. Because satsang is personal, even though it's the nature of everything, even though it's all there is. That's only one aspect, that's the general aspect. There's a personal aspect, which is satsang welcomes you. Satsang says, oh, here you are, and it enters you, it welcomes you. You, the individual, personally, not you, one more human being among many, you specifically. And that's why to many it feels so good, because it's actually quite personal, quite for you. In other words, you could say it simply as satsang's happy to have you, happy to see you. And that's the personal aspect. Oh, it's you. Hi there. Climb aboard. So this is a confusion for the spiritual seeker, because they're generally involved unconsciously in some kind of debate. Is God personal, is God impersonal? That's the other dimension of it? And the answer is yes. So satsang is impersonal, general, available always for everyone, happening for everyone, but it's also personal, specifically tailors itself to you. When you engage with it, it completely focuses on you. It enters you. It does for you. Not it's just this energy floating in the room and you plug into it, it comes to you. Besides being this energy in the room, it comes to you. That's the personal aspect. So, is satsang impersonal? Yes. Is satsang personal? Yes. Is God impersonal? Doesn't care about you? Doesn't recognize the separation? Yes. Is God completely personal and only cares about you, the individual? Yes. So it's not a debate. It's not either or. It's not is God this or is God that. Whenever the question is God, the answer is always yes. Whatever comes after the is a question mark. Is God this? Yes. Is God that? Yes. So these debates are for people who haven't been touched by satsang, who haven't tuned into that vibe or haven't had the beyond tap them on the shoulder to where they have some direct personal experience, to where they can say, oh yeah, that's real, that's not abstract, that's not imagined, it's as actual as the chair, the table, the hamburger. But for the person who's living the conventional life and hasn't been touched or hasn't felt any direct touch personally, of course it seems like a valid debate. Is it impersonal or is it personal? Is God a person or is God an abstract energy? The answer to all of it is yes. There's no debate. The debate simply means you haven't experienced it directly. You haven't had any taste of it that you can identify as, oh, that's what it is. But every one of you has, or else you wouldn't be at a meeting like this. But you have to remember that just so you know where you are. That the rest of the world hasn't necessarily and doesn't know what you know because it hasn't had the direct personal taste. It's like you've tasted orange, but most of the world hasn't. So you know something about what orange tastes like, but the rest of the world is debating whether oranges exist or not because they haven't had a piece of it in their mouth, haven't had a personal, direct experience. So of course, if you've never seen an orange, tasted an orange, it seems totally valid to debate whether oranges exist. Well, I've heard of them. There's people who say they've tasted them and they taste nice and they're sweet and juicy. But I don't know if they really exist. I've never seen one and I certainly haven't tasted one. So that debate is not for you. That debate is for people who don't have any experience of tasting. But you've already tasted. And even tasted deeply and even tasted again and again and again. So there's no debate, there's no question of whether oranges exist or not. But you have to remember to be not confused about the nature of how the everyday world works. You have to remember that not everybody has had the taste. So of course they have a different point of view, a different attitude. They want to debate, they want to argue about it. But you don't have to be a debater, and you don't have to convince anybody. What you have to do is recognize the uniqueness of your advantage. The fact that you've come across an orange and tasted it, that's an advantage. You know it's real. You know that all those people debating whether oranges exist or not, does God exist or not, you know that debate is superfluous, doesn't relate to anything real, because of course oranges exist. You know that. That's an advantage only if you recognize it. Otherwise, it's just a confusion. Well, how come other people don't? Because they haven't tasted. So in a sense, you really should see yourself as privileged. You've had that privilege, you've had that blessing, you've had that gift. And if you've been given great privilege, then you have to honor that. You have to conduct yourself as a privileged person and be not just grateful for it, but recognizing the nature of it, recognizing that that's a special situation and doesn't get given to everyone. And it's not just about appreciating it, it's about making your life and how you conduct yourself consistent with that privileged position, so that it influences your life, influences how you do, influences what you're trying to become, rather than it's just this thing that happens or has happened. Or you make it more sacred, because you have to do that. It doesn't happen by itself. Somebody doesn't do it for you. You have to do it. You have to recognize the sacred nature of what you know. And that privileged position has to inform how you live. And then you're honoring satsang. Then you're making your life attuned to satsang, and then you start to notice that satsang isn't this separate thing only at spiritual meetings, or only when you're around the guru, or only when you're reading spiritual books or meditating. You begin to see the prayerfulness in everyday life. You begin to see the sacredness in all directions. You become more sensitive to the living, conscious, loving energy of satsang. You become more open and less selective. When you become completely non-selective, choiceless awareness, everything is satsang. So there you have it. Your turn.
So everybody has a character, and it's easy for you to see their character.
I don't give a shit about their character. What's easy for me to see is their divinity, and divinity isn't character. Character is the world. Character was given to you by the world. Be this way, act that way, that's character.
And that's how we act 99% of the time, through this character.
Until you have some willingness to honor your own divinity, yes.
And to break out of this character means to see our own illusions, which is the hardest thing in the world.
Well, that's the hard way. You could take the easy way and be unconcerned with your illusions and be concerned with your divinity. Identify with your divine nature, identify with your higher wisdom, identify with your sacred life energy. And then the illusions aren't a problem. So you're taking what can be done as a one-step process and making it a two-step process. First, I have to pierce my illusions. I have to get past my illusions. I have to drop my illusions. And then I'll be able to see the sacred, and I'll be able to be more divinely oriented instead of stuck in personality and character and habits. That's two steps. First do this, and then you can do that. And I'm saying you can just go right to the second step and skip the first step. You can just go right to the recognition that this consciousness in me is divine consciousness, because consciousness is only divine consciousness. You've been taught and you've learned to experience it as your personhood. Your personhood is divine consciousness. But you've trivialized it, you've been forced, taught, conditioned, hypnotized into trivializing it as, well, that's just me. You've made it a small thing instead of a sacred big thing. Now that's everybody. Spiritual process, spiritualization, you get spiritualized. Spiritualized means you start to see what I'm saying. You start to see that, okay, I've been taught that that's my human nature, but what really is human nature? Human nature is my experience of divine nature. You really just don't bother with the definitions that you've been inculcated into, and you move right into the higher knowing, which defines everything as divine. You just accept that totally without having to argue with yourself about it. You just try it on for size, like a overcoat, and you wear it for a while. You see how that works. And that's what these meetings are for. That's why gurus exist, to encourage you to do that.
Wednesday, God came in, and something was there pretty much all day, and then by the night it was gone. So after that day, it's not like I stopped trying to force it as much, and just know that, you know what, it's going to come when it comes, and it's going to go when it goes.
So don't see it as a coming and a going. Define it for yourself more accurately, because you already know that God doesn't come and go. God doesn't come on Wednesday. Standing appointment. He's a little late today. Must have stopped off for stopped at the ATM. So you just redefine it for yourself more accurately as Wednesday I was more aware of the divine presence, and by the evening I was less aware. You make it about you, not about God. Because that's what's actually going on. Some moments you're more aware, some moments you're less aware of the divine. It's not God came on Wednesday and therefore you're more aware, it's just you were more aware.
It seems like this character wants to just recontrol the bodily functions in the mind, and
It's
and the
just
actions.
conditioning. Character is conditioning. It's just conditioning. Believe this, act this way, don't touch that. It's just the process of childhood, when you get raised, it develops what we think of as character, a certain way of conducting yourself, a certain way of being in the world. But that's artificial, that's cultural, that's societally given, it's not important, it's the superficial aspect, it's part of the material world, it's part of the body. It's bodily based. It's the part of the mind that is acted out bodily. But anything acted out bodily is really body-based, even though it's of the mind. So character is your superficial aspect. Divine nature is your more core aspect. And that exteriorization I was talking about, that's living at the superficial level. That's focusing on the superficial, the exterior. You can simply keep reminding yourself continuously, whenever you remember, without making it a problem for yourself. Oh, I forgot again, because you will forget, of course. That the divine nature of things is what it is, the divine nature of things, always, whether I'm aware of it or not. The problem is people insist that it isn't so unless I'm aware of it. The fundamental shift has to be, it doesn't matter if I'm aware of it or not, because of course there'll be times I'm less aware of it, and of course there'll be times I won't be aware of it at all. That doesn't mean it isn't there. That doesn't mean God came on Wednesday and was gone on Thursday. It means I was aware of it on Wednesday, I wasn't aware of it on Thursday. And that shouldn't have to be a problem. That's the point. We make it a problem. The spiritual seeker has a fundamental problem. The fundamental problem is the insistence that if I'm not aware of it in this moment, then I've lost it. I had it on Wednesday, I lost it by Thursday. And I went shopping on Friday.
Can I ask one more question?
I would appreciate if everybody would just ask the question rather than ask permission. I'm not the school marm. This is a conversation. When you talk to somebody, do you say, can I say the next sentence now? Why, yes, feel free. That's 6 sentences. You have 2 left. You have reached your 8-sentence limit for today.
All right, so God is obviously always here. It's just our awareness to it.
God isn't even always here. God is just always. You complicate it. So we complicate it so automatically. Well, God is here. Any word that comes after is a word too many. If you want the spiritual actuality, if you want to skim the surface, the superficial aspect of everyday life, then yeah, you add more words after is. But if you want the profound, you just have no words after is, and that's the profound.
It just seems so big. It just seems so like
That's
almost
exactly correct. Then you're recognizing the bigness.
it seems like almost an impossible thing to get to.
It's not impossible to get to it because you don't get to it. It's always. You're there now. You've never been anywhere else. The vastness of things is what it is. The defining and the categorizing and the trivializing and the defending and guarding and keeping out is simply to keep out the vastness so you're not overwhelmed by it. But you have to develop the ability little by little to be more overwhelmed.
It's almost like we're in...
Not swept away, just to take it in, to be aware of the vast. That's the process of spiritualization. You're more and more capable of simply recognizing the vast without fainting.
It's almost like we're in jail and we can get out and we have our own key to get out, but we don't.
It's more like you're imagining you're in jail. Life isn't a sentence, it's a gift. I have here a pardon from the governor for you. You've been pardoned. Last minute reprieve. Shut down the electric chair. Don't need it. Take the chains off this motherfucker. Show him the door.
The next question seems almost trivial, but I feel I saw something last night, so I thought I'd ask. Consciousness, so there's different layers, and
No, you have an experience of different layers because that's what you've been conditioned into. There's no layers.
I want to ask
It's like when all the chickens are dead. There's no layers.
what's
Takes a minute. Give him a minute. We've moved into the southern humor aspect of Satsang. It's the divine yeehaw.
so what came first, the consciousness or existence? Because after consciousness, I think there's just
What
existence.
came first, the chicken or the omelet?
Behind it all, past consciousness, there's existence.
One. So this is your conditioning. It's excellent that people can see it so easily demonstrated. We're all demonstrating it all the time. This is your condition. Well, behind it, and then there's above the higher and the vaster. Why do I feel like I'm Jimmy Stewart? Yeah, it's a wonderful life. Every time a bell rings, every time a satsang bell rings, an angel dies. I see your divine nature, Mr. Potter. But see how simply obvious it is that behind it and underneath it, and on Wednesday, this is all conditioning. Just, here. Here. There's no such thing as Wednesday. See how obvious it is? Wednesday. Wednesday is conditioning. No, really, you see how subtle it is? Everybody accepts, of course, there's Wednesday, there's Thursday. If you had never been taught the days of the week when you were 4, there'd be no Wednesday, because Wednesday is not existential. The only day in existential terms is now. Only now is real. Wednesday is just an idea you were taught. But look how we never see the simple reality. But you can if you stop believing in Wednesday. It's a belief you were forced to have so that you could operate in the culture. Well, fine. Accept it culturally, but reject it existentially. Be wiser. Of course there's no such thing as Wednesday. Arbitrary categorization of an experience of time. They could have just as well decided there are 10 days in the week, 2 days in the week. Somehow it got decided 7 based on a lunar this and a solar that, and who knows. And by the time it comes down to you, thousands of years later, there's no question that Wednesday is Wednesday, because yesterday was Tuesday. There's no Tuesday, there's no Wednesday. So there's your layers, see, that's the layers. But these layers don't exist. Wednesday is a layer. Is it real? No. There's your conscious living experience this moment. That's it. It doesn't have any Wednesday to it. That's a social, societal, cultural artifact. Like a building, like a subway, something the culture built. Has a usefulness, a practicality, but has no existence of its own. It's an idea. Okay, Lindsay had a question.
Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Okay. So, I'm not really sure what the question is, but, okay, so for the past, week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, pretty regularly I've been meditating. And I used to do it, and I gave up on it because it wasn't working for me, and I was really frustrated. So I persisted, and the more I did it, the more I wanted to stop, and the more stressed out I felt, actually, because I was just hearing my thoughts so loudly, and they were absolutely insane, just scattered, broken, telling me different things that didn't make sense, making up all these stories, just leading into all these corners that just didn't really make sense, and they were painting my reality in that moment, and then the next moment it was a whole different reality. And it was just this string of crazy stories.
So that's successful meditating.
What I tried to do, I tried many different things, and it was really frustrating, so I tried to focus on my breath, and then I would just get frustrated in my mind, am I focusing on the right parts of my breath? There's so many parts of breathing, how do I know, am I just ignoring?
So this didn't happen on Wednesday, did it?
And so then I was okay, well, how about I'll try.
So did you hear what I said a minute ago?
Yeah.
What'd I say?
You said that it's all one, and that.
No, what I said to you a minute ago.
Wednesday doesn't exist. Tuesday doesn't exist. They're all constant.
What I said to you a minute ago about meditating, what did I say?
You said that I was doing it correctly.
I said you were succeeding. That's successful meditation. After I said that, you went on to say why it wasn't successful.
Well, I mean, okay, so yeah, I guess you're right, because I've been doing it. I don't know why it's happening so quickly, but,
So one of the greatest benefits possible from meditation is you get to see how you're conditioned, how you're captured by your own mind thoughts, and how they're crazy and don't make sense. Exactly what you said, they don't make sense, and how they
they don't.
spin a story and control you. So if any form, any attempt of any kind of meditation shows you that, that's successful meditation. That's not a reason to be frustrated. I understand that you're thinking that there's some other experience you're supposed to have, so it feels frustrating, but actually you had a better experience than any other experience you could have, because you get to see for yourself how thoughts aren't necessarily useful and how much craziness is involved. And if you can see the craziness, that means you're not crazy. That means it's not you, just the thoughts. And you're separate from the thoughts.
It took a while for me to kind of see that, because what happened was that I started doing this thing where I stopped reacting to the thoughts, because I noticed that every single thought that I had, however crazy or unfinished, it would produce like a physical jolt in me, like something.
So that's
uncomfortable.
even more wildly successful meditating. If you can actually disengage from the thoughts, that's very, very, very successful meditating.
After that, so I started noticing that every thought was just producing a different reaction, and when there were absence of certain thoughts, I wouldn't get certain reactions, and the thoughts weren't even making sense with reality. So I started to kind of ignore the thoughts, not let them come past, but they'd like come, and I'd just be like, okay,
Not get
and
caught
okay,
up
and
in
it was
them.
kind of like playing tennis or something, like just okay, bye, okay, bye, okay, bye. And what I've noticed that is that it feels like kind of like a workout while I'm doing it, like I'm actually playing tennis or something. But I noticed that in my days, every single day, I'm starting to realize that words, my thoughts are words, and words are completely useless. Like, the more I stop realizing that my thoughts are reality, the more I start to feel reality, and it's beyond words. It's not anything that has anything to do with a story or an explanation or a description. And they're completely separate things. And right now, it's like I'm living in this duality. Like, these thoughts are still happening, and sometimes I'm identified with them, but sometimes I'll catch myself and I'll stop it, and then reality will come back, and I'm starting to feel things that I only felt when I was a kid. And I'm really realizing that, no one could say a word, and you could just watch things, and you could just feel people, and you could feel your surroundings and perceive it, and that's enough. And I think that the work is in just eliminating the thoughts so you can see that, I think. Do you agree?
It doesn't matter if I agree, it's 100% correct.
Well, it works. But it's true, and it's reminding me that there is a point to life. There's something to live for, and it's life, I guess.
So there are people who meditate in a solitary way in a cave in the Himalayas for 20 years continuously to try to get what you just described.
It's interesting because a part of me, like the thought part, would be like, wow, I'm so special, oh my goodness. But I catch it, and then I realize it doesn't even matter. Like, it's not real.
100% correct. By the way, Lindsay, I love you. You have captured my heart.
Israel's next week.
Meet me on Wednesday. So everything you're doing, everything you're sensing, everything you're noticing, everything you're experiencing is 100% correct. If you have an idea about it, it will be the correct idea. So now, the only thing I'm going to add is now start trusting yourself 100%. Because you're always going to be right. Not because you're special, but because you're correct. You already know you're not special. What you need to know is you're correct. So, don't even have the issue anymore about whether to trust yourself or not. Listen to me and trust yourself 100%. Put that issue to bed. Should I trust myself or not? The answer is yes, 100%. Don't even struggle with it 1 second more. If you're always correct, you should trust yourself. And if you do what I'm telling you and trust yourself for real, 100%, from now on, it'll change everything. Okay. Good. Devarash.
I've been experiencing something lately, and I don't know what to make of it, and so I just wanted your guidance on it.
Well, I've been experiencing Lindsay, and I know what to make of it. That sounded nasty. I didn't mean it that
I was going to say, this is going to be an awkward transition.
way. That's not how I meant it.
I've been feeling. So I went through a breakup like a month and a half ago, and you had told me, this isn't something that deep, and that was my experience of the breakup. Is in the end, it wasn't something that deep. And then my typical experience is that just slowly get over things, and it started to become not specific to that person, but the emptiness of being out of the relationship has started to become very acute again. And I wanted to see, is that related to not hanging my hat on other things in life? I've mentioned before, like I feel like I'm finding comfort in all the things of the material world. Like it's almost impossible for me to do at this point, or it feels very hard for me to do. I don't know if it's impossible. It feels very hard for me to do.
Do what? To do what?
To find comfort in.
Good.
So is this me trying
Comfort
to?
Comfort is the booby prize. So good. You are moving towards the real prize. When you can't find comfort, then comfort can't put you to sleep. Soothing isn't worth anything. You can have reality or you can have soothing. It's that simple. Most people choose soothing. You can have truth or you can have comfort. Most people choose comfort. You can have temporary pleasures or you can have God. Most people choose temporary pleasures. So if temporary pleasures are becoming more hollow, if soothing is becoming more difficult, if comfort seems to be going away, that's fantastic. That's good news. Then your distractibility is evaporating, and of course it doesn't feel good because we have the habit of seeking comfort, pleasure, and distraction, and it seems good and it seems like the right thing to do. All of that's conditioning. We do more of it on Wednesday. But it's all simply moving away from reality. It's all simply anti-spiritual, away from the divine. So if that's going away, then it's the right direction. But the discomfort of it has to be tolerated. It's a good discomfort.
Okay. Thank you.
When you can't hang your hat on anything, that's the position you want to be in.
I actually have a very similar report to Devaraj. An aspect of it that
Have you been copying from his paper?
Yes. I've been looking over his shoulder. An aspect of it that I'm experiencing is like a squeezing, where I feel like I'm being corralled, like the whole world around me is closing down and I'm being pushed toward the guru. And it's actually a very hopeful feeling internally. Like, that's where I want to go. But I'm an addict of comfort. And
So get sober.
okay. It's sort of happening whether I want it to or not, because I can't find it.
So what he was describing is the withdrawal. You'll have to go through the withdrawal too.
Okay.
Withdrawal is not fun. Withdrawal is heebie-jeebies.
I feel like I
The
wasn't
heebie and the jeebie.
aware of it until I was sitting here with you, but I feel like
There'll be
there's
some sense of withdrawal, some discomfort at some point that's more intense. You can't come out of the comfort addiction without withdrawal. You can't give up any addiction without some kind of withdrawal.
yeah, there's an inner panic happening that I've been trying to suppress.
Well, don't suppress it, just tolerate it.
Okay. And then I think part of my, or I have some confusion around happiness, spiritual happiness.
Only possible after you're sober.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Because I think what I experienced before was under a roof of comfort, so it wasn't.
It's the happiness of a pint of vodka. The real happiness is when it's not induced by anything. So the position of the spiritual seeker, whether they know it or not, and they often don't know it, is they are required to get sober. The guru is rehab.
As you say it, I'm seeing all of the, like, not necessarily just one by one, but I'm seeing this massive delusion being the non-sobriety, being the drunkenness. Got it.
Yeah, you have to get sober so you can be drunk on the divine. See, you are addicted, the spiritual seeker is addicted to the cheap high. The guru recommends the really good high, the natural one, the one that makes you higher than a kite. The guru is just saying, don't settle for cheap highs. Be a connoisseur, not a wino.
Like I've been getting high off spiritual mouthwash.
Pass the shellac. Really, that's what the guru's message is. Don't settle for cheap highs, get the real highs. Why do you think they call it higher consciousness? Yeah, man.
There's also an involuntary feeling to being pulled toward you or moved toward you. It's like I'm being moved, almost like on a conveyor belt.
Well, if it's voluntary, it's delusion. If it's involuntary, it could be real.
Hope it is. Thank you.
Amy.
Some realizations about some issues, whatever word you want to call them, that's been part of me for a long time. I don't adhere to them because I know how, like I can see that I'm obviously not, whatever, anyway. But, sorry, let me start over. I have this extremely potent feeling rage and at my utter lack of control. And when those things happen that bring it out in me, I'm like this uncontrollable animal, and I can see myself being this way, and I can't stop it, and it just feels so justified because I exist, because there's this part of me that just hates existing and hates being and it feels blasphemous, because I know that life is beautiful and that I should really appreciate it, and like all these, I've had more trustworthy moments of like knowing that's below me, but it sabotages me in the most insidious ways. I sabotage myself, and I hate it, and I hate me, and I don't know what to do with it. I can't pretend to be this person that is entirely okay and happy and adjusted and spiritually calm and all this stuff, because as I get more in touch with whatever spirituality is bringing it out in me, is like my unfrozen nature. It's what's shifting and moving is causing this rage to bubble up. I don't know what to do with it. Like, it feels toxic and poisonous and evil, and I don't want to lay it on anybody else around me, so I just eat it and put it back on myself, because it has to be. It just is. So I don't know what to. But I realized that it's not deep. It's like a hologram. I perceive it and experience it as this deep wow of rage, but it's only like a micron thin, and I just can't break it. Can't let it go.
We'll take care of it tomorrow.
Fair enough.
Can you wait 24 hours?
Time doesn't exist.
Is that a yes or a no?
I don't know. I'm not going to kill myself before tomorrow, so I guess I will be waiting.
When are you going to kill yourself?
Hopefully not ever.
Look, Zuzu's pedals. Look, Clarence, I want my life back. No, I promised myself and my family and all these, like, I vowed to existence that I will not kill myself, but I can't pretend that I don't want to, and that I don't have the intrusive thoughts that enter all of these random moments throughout the day of just, oh, I finished my coffee. Kill yourself. Oh, I didn't wash my cup like I thought I was going to do today. Kill yourself. And it's so obscene. But it's there, and it's got to be something to do with powerlessness and control, but I hate it. No, it has to do with how you were raised. But tomorrow you start a new life.
It's my birthday, starting tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow.
That's right, tomorrow's your birthday. But I'm glad you've made those promises. That's necessary.
Oh yeah, that's long since. So yeah, the dealing with the uncomfort factor, I feel as though like whatever's uncomfortable, whatever spirituality brings up, I can deal with, because it's always such an uncomfortable experience existing. It doesn't have to be that way. That's the thing. Is it ever going to end? And I think that is your answer is tomorrow. I don't feel it. So I'll let somebody else know.
Well, tomorrow is the beginning of the end.
Okay.
You know, if I was going to kill myself, the one way I would never do is the Robin Williams way, hanging yourself. It just doesn't appeal to me. You know? I can't imagine deciding on a suicide method that your decision is hanging yourself. It just is not the way I would choose. But because of severe trauma, because of how I was raised, every day for the first 40 or 50 years, I don't know exactly, I would always have this image of hanging myself. I never understood why it was there, because I would never hang myself. I was going to kill myself. That's the last way I would do it. But that was there for decades. And then it went away. And I had no intention of killing myself, but that image was there many times throughout the day. The first thing I noticed when I'd wake up in the morning is that image, every single day. But it went away. And even now, once in a while, randomly, like once in 5 years, that image will pop up in my mind, and I'll just start laughing uproariously. Like, 40 years I had that? Oh my God. So it's just a programmed image. I'm just testifying to you that it can go away. So trauma, severe trauma, creates these things in people. I didn't want to kill myself, but that image was there. That image was a result of decades and decades of daily trauma.
Makes me very angry.
When you're beaten every day of your life till the age of, literally every day till the age of 14, when that's the kindest moment of the day when you're being beaten, you're going to have images like that. You're going to have images like that of you hanging by a noose. It's the way trauma does to people.
Yeah.
So you've had severe, severe trauma. But yes, it can go away. You can move into the new life. Starts tomorrow.
Oh God.
Hmm? Yes, exactly. Who else?
Over the past couple of days, I've been experiencing a really strong heart energy, almost as strong as back in October. And I also have been having moments of just feeling like pure consciousness and then getting kind of kicked out of it by this thought of, oh my God, like, holy shit, what just happened?
That's right. That's what happened. Holy shit.
And from the discourse on Wednesday, I guess I started wondering if an understanding that I had a while back is the answer to the question of what I know. Because if there's no I, if I'm life, then consciousness is just life's consciousness, divine consciousness. And so any sense of knowing is just life's knowing. It's not my knowing. So I don't know anything, it's life's knowing. Is that what you mean by saying, when you say I don't know anything?
Well, it's closer, yeah. Good. It's the right direction.
Also, from my experience, it seems like consciousness arises in response to something. And that there's something that precedes consciousness itself. Like the true I is not my consciousness, or not consciousness, it's emptiness behind consciousness.
Well, you're not talking about consciousness, you're talking about self-consciousness. So yeah, there's something that precedes self-consciousness. So don't think so much. Okay? Don't think so much.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I had this heart opening, you said. Fine, then don't think.
I guess you had said on Wednesday that it's important to have the right understanding to move in that direction. So I just wanted to see if I had.
Yeah, that's a better understanding. Doesn't require a lot of thinking. Isn't it more a heart understanding than a thinking understanding?
Yes.
So there you go.
Thank you.
You know, philosophers love to talk about, I think, therefore I am. One of the dumbest things ever said. I think, therefore I am. Leave it to a Frenchman. So the correct saying is, I think, therefore I'm confused.
Or I am, therefore I think.
The correct saying is, I am, therefore I don't need to think. You think?
Well, from what you said earlier, it seems like there's no way to avoid thought, because you said something about 700 trillion thoughts per second. So thought can't be just...
You don't have to avoid thought, you just have to stop thinking.
Okay.
And you don't have to stop thinking to stop thinking. Ja, Zen-Kong! Zen-Kong, Bajing!
I'm not going to think about that one.
No, you think. You think about, you ponder. make your mind expand. First give you headache. I know mocking you. White people crazy. Okay. Okay, Theo. You can't affront.
I'm getting used to not being depressed.
Then why you no smile sometimes? I'm getting used to not feeling depressed. That's good. Now you smile. Show
Okay.
that people, show the world you're not depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zuzu's petals.
I love that. You do a good Jimmy.
I do a Chinese store. Yeah. You want a lo mein or chow mein?
Feeling a lot of joy. I'm feeling a lot of unconditional joy. And I'm liking it.
Oh, most people hate that. You watch a Joy Luck Club. Watch that. So your intimation is correct that sooner or later your habit, your mind, your past will try to rob you of that and throw you back to depression and the joyless state. So be prepared to not allow that. Because that's what you're intimating, is that that will sooner or later be under threat. You don't know you're intimating that, but you are in your choice of words. So you're correct. Sooner or later, that will try to be pulled from your hands, and you have to hold on to it. So when the forces come to steal it from you and rob you of it and take it away, don't let them.
Okay, I won't.
Be prepared. Be prepared to fight it off. Because what is typical is, rather than fight it off, we go, oh shit, the depression's back. That's what most people do. Oh shit, it's back. Don't do that. Don't believe it. Don't fall for that trick, because that's what it is. Say, oh, the forces of evil are trying to rob me and take it away. Me hold on tight. no let take.
If I smile,
when
will
they
that
come,
help?
no, when they come, you talk Chinese accent. They confuse. Hey, we got the wrong guy. Supposed to be a white guy. There's some Chinese bastard. You say, yeah, you go away. I keep my joy. You not take. You not take. Fuck you. Go away. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to guard it when they come to take it.
Okay.
Don't do what everybody does. Oh, I'm depressed again. Don't fall for that. Oh, the joy is gone. Don't fall for that. You don't have to be aware of it for it to be there. But if you say to yourself, the joy is gone, then they've succeeded in robbing you. Don't let them take it away. Just say, I'm not aware of it in this moment. The mistake is people declare it gone. Or the depression is back. So you have to hold on to it, not with clutching, but with correct understanding. Okay, if I don't feel it, that doesn't mean it's gone. And if I seem to feel what I used to feel that isn't pleasant or is depressing, that doesn't mean it's back. See, these are the layers. These are the conditionings. Back, forth, up, down, left, right, Wednesday, Thursday. All conditioned. No existential reality. I feel this way right now has no meaning. Make no declarations. Oh, the depression is back. Oh, the joy is gone. Oh, I seem to have become tiny. Doesn't mean you have. Okay? So if you want to have the joy, if you want to continue to be not depressed, you have to keep it. Not clutch it, not cling to it, not insist on it, but just not let anything or anyone take it away. And that includes remembering that if you don't feel it in a particular moment, doesn't mean it's gone. Okay? Okay.
And I'm remembering from the summer retreat when you said, mark my words, that my depression and you cannot be. And I'm remembering from the summer retreat that you said, mark my words, my
Ooh,
depression.
sounds so
It was
serious.
Yes.
Mock my words. Are you mocking? Mock my words. I say, very important word to you. Mock my words.
It was. It was right at the end of the retreat.
That's right. You mock them. Go ahead, finish. Me no mean
You
to
said-
interrupt.
Can I trust you?
Go ahead.
You said that your depression and me cannot exist together.
Yeah.
And it's true, and I'm glad you said that.
And still, you can be robbed of it if you allow it.
Yes.
There are, you could even say natural forces, not evil forces, that will try to rob you of it. The force of the past, the force of habit, the force of conditioning, the force of worldliness, the force of whatever. even the force of well-meaning people. So it has to be not clung to, not held on, clung to, held on, kept. Not easily, readily, willingly, simply allowed to be taken away. Which means avoid declarations. Oh, now it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So phone hell and see if it's a cold day. It'll take a minute.
Thank you for calling hell. Your call is important to us. Please hold.
Some people are still naive. You do know that no one is ever recording any of these calls. If you didn't know that, now you do. Your call is being recorded because you'll believe anything we tell you. And I've challenged them to produce the recording. They couldn't. They never can, because there's no recording. Only one's recording is the government. They're recording every telephone conversation and every internet action you do. But these companies, these for-profit companies, these businesses that say we're recording for quality assurance, no, they're not. Don't be so naive. And the other direction, don't be so naive. The government admits it's recording every phone conversation you have. Take that seriously. They've admitted it. They say we're recording you. Okay, you're the last one.
I was at the dentist last week, and she was doing this great job. New girl.
Start over. I was too fast.
Oh, sorry.
Didn't catch all that. You have funny accent.
Yes.
You have to talk not too fast.
I was at the dentist last week, and
so was I.
What a coincidence. Right. Was it the same dentist? So there's a new girl, and she was. For some reason, I really liked her, and she was doing a great job, and it was a very profound experience for me. And she was telling me about herself, and she was talking about the fact that she was 43, and she was like, "This is the best years of my life." And at some point during that 3-hour-long session, it kind of clicked, and I realized that this is also the best year of my life. I mean, and it was just this really joyous feeling that arose that, at 42, this is the best year of my life. Wow. And there was so much joy. I couldn't explain it. And I don't need to really, quite frankly.
Yeah,
But
dental joy.
yes, that must have been
That's
it.
the explanation.
And she was very good at cleaning, so I guess that was part of it. And then maybe it was the drugs, but at some point, well, she had given me 4 injections, so at some point I kind of what I noticed was I was not. Yeah, right. No, shut up. At some point during that procedure, I noticed that I'd fallen completely out of thoughts. It was like no thoughts, and it was just bliss. and which made me for again the first time realize that when I'm not thinking, when there's no thoughts, when I'm not caught up with anything else, there's just bliss. I mean, that's all that was there. That's all that is.
Was that a question?
I don't know.
Well, let's
It's
say it
just the
wasn't.
sharing.
So you'll be getting more frequent teeth cleanings, is what you're saying.
Especially with her. And Novocaine. This is a really good session. It's very profoundly liberating. I don't know why.
Dental satsang.
I really enjoyed it.
Well, it's proof, testimony, what I said earlier, that satsang is anywhere, everywhere. There's a lot of parallels between dentistry and guruing. Yeah. I always feel like I'm pulling teeth.
Twisted arms.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
We've recorded this satsang for quality control. And to use against you if necessary. You want to say anything?
No, I'll save it for tomorrow.
We'll give him a little foretaste now.
It was actually just something you had mentioned to me last night, and you wanted me to remind you. You want me to bring it up in a.
Well, not
session,
now.
because-
We're done.
Right.
Time's
That's why I was
up.
gonna. That's why I was gonna bring it up tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
Well,
you
get
want-
out of here.
All right.
Are you wasting our time? When's the last time you had your teeth cleaned? That means too long.
No, I have an appointment. March 8th.
Yeah, sure. You do. Yeah.